Warning, the voices heard in this video are made synthetically using artificial intelligence. Nothing in this video reflects anything actually stated by the real-life individuals involved. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and serious political content will be avoided for that purpose. Enjoy!
A final flash of this fantasy falls to our fellow fighters. We have reached the end of the road, viewers. Last time Donald started the defense of Amaranthine, so now I have to finish his food. A sentence he has probably never heard before.
Eat a dick. Last time I killed the strongest boss in Awakening and tied up the boss competition, so I would say I cooked a goddamn gourmet meal for my penultimate episode. Let's see if you can do the same, Sleepy.
Well, Joe has some peak moments today. He gets to decide the fate of the Darkspawn and have the ultimate crash out with the Mother, which honestly, while not as difficult as the Sir Cawthron or Queen of the Black Marsh, is still in the top 5 hardest fights in Dragon Age Origins. So that will likely be the hardest boss fight in the series for you, Joe.
My body is ready for the Mother, if you know what I mean, so don't you worry, Barry. You ranking the Dragon Age bosses, though, gives me the idea we should make a boss tier list. Viewers, let us know if you would be interested.
No, Joe, you dumbass don't pitch ideas to the viewers. They obviously want any kind of tier list we could dish out, and we are already booked to capacity with Veilguard coming out in a week.
Well, even with Veilguard coming out eventually, we will do another tier list at some point, viewers. Those are really fun to make, so stay tuned. We have a few fun ideas, but right now we are putting in our full effort to finish our first series strong.
Also, stay tuned for the rest of this episode if you like killing Darkspawn, especially Darkspawn that can do basic addition, because by God, will we be adding plenty of boss counters today, boys?
Well, that's great. Maybe unlike your presidency, you can finish something strong, Sleepy.
I swear to God, at this point I should just change the disclaimer to actual political content is avoided except by Donald. Also, we have a pretty fun fight ahead of us here. The Darkspawn put a little thought into their last stand at least.
Holy shit, that ogre has some drip on him. Who the hell told him to go out wearing that? And how the hell can he even see right now?
You know, I remember the armored ogres showing up way earlier in Awakening. Is this seriously the first one we have seen in this game?
You probably remember that, because the armored ogres appear in almost every fight between here and the Mother during the finale. There are so many of them that it's easy to misremember that they were in every dungeon. But no, they are isolated to the final dungeon.
So are these ogres awakened and that's why they wear armor? Did we just will that into existence when we mentioned them in episode 3?
No, interestingly enough, this is something the Darkspawn have been doing long before being awakened. Vanguards tend to use armor that they scavenge from other defeated Darkspawn, and many Darkspawn scavenge weapons and armor from the abandoned Thags. It's rare, but the Legion of the Dead do report occasionally seeing Darkspawn with patchwork armor. So it's even possible we could see this type of ogre in later games. Also, good strategy dividing up the squad to deal with both threats. I see you were paying attention when I fought the Lost.
I figured our Templar POTUS could take out the mage by himself also. How is it that only in our final episodes do we actually get some usage out of Cleanse Area? Seems unlikely for a coincidence.
While I am partially chubbed for the big dick Templar plays, don't put on your tinfoil hat just yet. Sleepy, both of the times we used it was against a Darkspawn mage boss, so Crush in Prison and Curse of Mortality are their first and last go-to moves. You would know that if you were put on that Darkspawn grind like me.
Well, my grind still got me 3 bosses killed, tying me with all 3 of you now. Things are looking up for Dragon Age 2.
It's still your last episode. Me and Barack still have our specials. You are cooked. Also, look at all these NPCs clapping for POTUS. I bet they clap when an airplane lands, too.
I mean, they better start clapping. We did kind of sacrifice our soldiers to save them.
Well, I said I would be less critical of the Amaranthine section, and I kept my word. This scene here is one of my personal favorites in the series. The music choice is perfect, since it's somber but calm. Despite the peace we gave the city, this was a victory achieved at great cost, not only to the keep, but the city here.
It's easy to miss, but that old guy at the start was the man who came up to us when we first got to Amaranthine begging us to save his family. Looks like his wife lived, but he didn't. It's a sad scene, even if the city lives.
Well, this is excellent PR for the Grey Wardens. Our campaign donations are about to go through the roof. Job's not finished yet, though we still have to deal with the red and blue team leaders.
Let's finish this fight after we get some glaze from our adoring fans. No autographs, though, we don't do that.
So, The map here says that the keep is dead, but that's not entirely true. We fully upgraded the keep, so we will see in the epilogue that despite heavy losses, the keep never fell to the Darkspawn. We could probably go back, but it's far more tactical to finish the fight and take out the leaders while we can.
Hey guys, do this part without me. I have to go and look for something.
Donald, I'm going to stop you right there. Morrigan isn't here yet. The Witch Hunt DLC takes place about 4 months after Awakening, since the description of the DLC says it takes place a year after the death of the Archdemon. We are about 6 to 7 months after the death of the Archdemon currently.
God damn it, I was so close.
The Illuvian is here, though we just kind of miss it while killing the spawn. Also check out my sick jumps.
Nice, Joe. Glad we could get a ogre kill animation before the end. The Illuvian being here is a nice bit of lore consistency I like. We learn that the dead dragon bones in this area host incredible magical potential, which is why there is a functioning Illuvian here. And in Dragon Age 2, we learn from Fenris that the Tevinter Imperium used the same logic of bones being a source of power in the bone pit.
Yeah, enough about that mid-game. What the hell is a high dragon doing here?
Considering the mother wants to die, maybe she has been pissing off dragons, as well as the wardens, just to see who gets to her first. That's my personal theory anyway.
I mean, I could see that, but no, that's not why this dragon is here. This place is known as a dragon graveyard, because dragons have a natural instinct to wander to this place to die as a final resting place. This is why there are so many dragon bones here, and it's why we find a dragon cult operating in this place during Witch Hunt. I imagine this dragon was in its final years and saw the opportunity to have one more grand battle with POTUS, which is why she appeared. I doubt she wanted to just attack the Darkspawn, otherwise she would have been attacking all this time.
Are the power of the dragon bones the reason the architect used this place to awaken the Darkspawn and the mother?
Not a bad theory at all, Joe. Tevinter has always used bones to fuel this magical power that does support the theory that the architect is lying about his amnesia. It might also explain why the mother is the only broodmother we see able to use magic.
To be fair, it's not like we have seen or ever will see a awakened broodmother either, so it could go either way, boys. Also, I just realized, is this your first high dragon fight?
I think it actually is. The only other dragon I fought was the Archdemon sequel in the woods, and those were normal dragons. Barry fought the High Dragon and Theme, and you fought Flemeth and the Queen of the Black Marsh. I'm glad I got one dragon fight before we reached Veilguard.
I just hope Veilguard makes dragons feel like a grand and epic battle and not just cinematically, believe me. They proved they can do that already, but I mean space the dragon fights out. Instead of every area in the game getting a different flavor of High Dragon, making them rare just feels more right and more earned.
Well, I got my kill animation, boys. I think I earned this one, so say it with me.
Boom, easy money.
Thank you, boys. Let's go check on Valana's baddie sister. Now maybe we can finally get that threesome.
I mean, she is mind-broken at this point, given the way she said tender, but I don't think she is the fun kind of mind-broken.
No one wants to hear what the fun kind of mind-broken is, Donald. But this is the reason we brought Valana with us. Serani only appears when you bring her to the waist. Going back to this scene, though, it's really sad that Valana is so blinded by her love of her sister that she can't recognize the obvious mind control that is going on here. Not only was she kidnapped by the Spawn and noted as very compliant, but she is obviously very heavily tainted. Finally, to tie a bow on this, even if you agree with Serani here, and ask her to follow you so you can tell others she refuses adamantly, and just says she has work to do.
Sorry, Elf Mommy, your sister is now a plaything to the Darkspawn, and I do mean that quite literally, given the phrasing the architect uses.
There's no happy ending for Serani, is there?
How could there be? Even if they weren't mind-controlled, she is tainted she's going to be dead, or a ghoul in a matter of time. Both her endings are worse the more information we get about the Darkspawn plan. First off, even if we side with the architect, Valana never sees her sister again. Why do you think the architect only keeps women around with him?
Because even if he's a Darkspawn, a man's got needs?
Gross, but it's worse than that. What do Darkspawn normally do with women?
They turn them into broodmothers? Oh, shit.
And we already know the architect has experience trying to awaken broodmothers.
Correct. He probably thinks if he befriends them during the process, they will be far less insane when they are awakened.
Why in the hell does he want to create more awakened broodmothers? Just one of them created a mini blight.
Well, because it's all part of his plan. As much as he lies, the architect does want to free the Darkspawn from the call of the archdemons and stop the blights. To do this, he needs Grey Warden blood. but obviously he doesn't think he can awaken every single darkspawn to ever exist. Even if he gets our support that's only a couple dozen wardens, he would need every warden to ever exist to support him and regularly donate blood. That is impossible. So the next best thing is to create enough awakened darkspawn that the majority of the spawn can follow. And in the darkspawn hierarchy, brood mothers are only behind the archdemons themselves. This is because even darkspawn know that brood mothers are their moms and are what create more darkspawn. So on paper, all he needs is a few dozen awakened brood mothers, and the blights might be a thing of the past.
I'd love to see the women's reaction to that pitch. Hey, do you want to end the blights? Great. Just step on this couch surrounded by Herlocks. Trust me, it's all part of the process.
To play devil's advocate, this solution has some really good cold calculus results. Sure, some women get a fate worse than death, but if it stops the blights, that's losing a few dozen to save millions.
Again, tell that to the women going through the process. Donald, this is essentially the trolley problem.
That might be an interesting moral quandary, but it's irrelevant. The bigger problem is the architect doesn't know what the hell he is doing. Brood mothers are not biologically darkspawn. They are humans that turned into ghouls. So we have no proof awakening them is even as successful as normal darkspawn. Secondly, given how traumatic becoming a brood mother is, I imagine most people who went through SA and became a bloated abomination wouldn't come out the other end, particularly sane, especially since the archdemon's call is the only thing that distracts them from what they experienced. Third, even if both of these are ignored, and most awakened, brood mothers turn out peaceful, all it takes is one or two brood mothers to go bad for everything we just experienced to happen again.
You're really passionate about this topic, Dam?
Yeah, I was kind of curious about his ending, being honest, since the ending slides show that this is actually an ideal outcome in the short term. But given how this won't be in Veilguard, and now we have Barry destroying the architect with facts and logic, I'm going to side against him. Also, don't forget to apply the crystals in the Three Towers viewers. All three of the effects are really damn powerful. And like Barack said earlier, this is a difficult fight. The main three places the crystals spawn is flesh pods, armored ogres, and locked chests. They'll try to show where each of them is located for you all.
Not surprising you are taking the easy route, but I had a feeling you might take the Paragon path and spare this dude, so I brought in an old friend to help me out.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my special guests, POTUS and the Architect. Tell me, boys, what the hell did this guy build to get a name like that?
He builds a bunch of lies, being honest. Maury, hope you can prove it to the viewers today. I know if anyone can debunk Dragon Age's most well-written villain, it's you.
The glaze is insane. But even though I am retired, $20 is $20, I suppose. So I've got the lie detector results right here. Also, holy shit, did that dude just fly?
Nah, Poe, it was more like a gentle float rather than flying.
All right, good. I don't want this dude to fly off my show when I read these results. That's above my pay grade. You were asked, did you intend to talk to POTUS when you drugged and experimented on him? You said yes. The lie detector test determined that was a lie. You kept him imprisoned for days, then sick darkspawn and dragons on him.
Boom, get fucked, idiot!
Calm down, Joey. It was only the first question. You were asked, did you send the Withered to simply talk with the Grey Wardens? You said yes. The lie detector test determined that was a lie. You sent the entire invading army to talk to them, and everyone else at the keep said the Darkspawn attacked without warning, and you came from the dam tunnels. When I ask Donnie for a golf game, I don't usually break into the Trump Tower basement to do it.
Wait, usually?
That's a long and funny story.
You were asked, were the Grey Wardens who were sent to you already dead? You said yes. The lie detector test determined that was a lie. The boys even had a conversation with one Grey Warden who had their legs smashed and was cucked while imprisoned by you.
Why did he even lie about that one? He knows the damn path we took.
I know this darkspawn fuck doesn't think we wouldn't suplex his ass in an instant. POTUS hasn't lost a damn fight since being shot into his mother's womb.
That is the insane statement, Donnie. But on to the last question. You were asked, did you start the fifth blight decades before? it should have started summoning Euthymeriel, who you used to serve as a Tevinter high priest. You admitted to our lie detector that you did.
Dust this bitch!
Barry, hand me the 9. It's time we put a cap in his ass.
Joe, why did you ask me that specifically?
I don't know, it just felt natural anyway. Poe, you made your point. As soon as the yap spree is over, we are going to give this dark spawn the biggest suplex of our little lives.
Wait, hold on, boys. This guy wants blood. I have never had a vampire on my show before. This is a crazy milestone.
No, Maury, he's not a vampire. He just needs our blood so that his people can gain knowledge and power.
My Obama in Christ, you are literally explaining vampires right now. Why are Obama and the Architect saying the same damn thing?
All right, Poe, you make a good point. I guess that's why people compare the Grey Wardens and Awakened Darkspawn to the Blood Angels Legion. They both are a little too obsessed with blood sometimes.
See, that's why I'm normally an Iron Hands player myself. I don't trust this blood shit. When are you going to join me in Joe's paint sessions, by the way, Donnie?
Oh shit, Poe Barry doesn't know about the paint sessions.
You guys paint models without me? I want to join in. That sounds chill as hell.
Look, no offense, Barry. Sometimes we just want some peace and quiet. To paint and build our guys, we don't always need a lore yap with everything.
Yeah, I only got in this hobby since Donald and Joe don't overwhelm me with information. They just show me some cool fan art and buy me a starter kit.
You guys realize I'm only like this about a few games. I barely know the lore on Warhammer. I wouldn't just info dump on everything, right?
Wait, you have a damn off switch?
Yeah, of course. What do you think? I'm just a living codex of nerdy hobbies?
Yes.
All right, fuck all three of you. If I buy you some beer and promise not to yap, can I join the next session?
All right, sure, let's call it a trial run, but for now, let's get back to the game, boys. I know we have more to talk about with this guy.
Yeah, I might not want to hear about it 24/7, but I knew what I was getting into coming here today, and I'm kind of interested to know what the Architect's deal is now that I know his dirty laundry.
Yeah, if I'm going to keep roasting this guy, I want the proper receipts.
Well, damn, thank you, boys. Let's see what I can pull out of my glaringly evil Architect bag. Oh, here we go. How about the fact the Architect just a few years ago came up and tried to execute a terrorist attack to infect all major cities, with the taint thinking that if you made everyone on Earth a ghoul, there would be peace between Darkspawn and humans. He was willing to go through with this, while knowing that more than half the people infected by the taint just straight up die, instead of becoming a ghoul.
So this guy is basically a Nazi vampire. How incredibly charming.
I don't think he even gave up on that plan because it's too insane. He just gave up because he found something easier to do. Also, damn, we once again have a 2-to-1 vote on this subjectively bad decision on siding with the Architect. Valana, I know, is just drinking the Kool-Aid because she loves her sister, not because she thinks this is a great idea herself. But what the hell is Nathaniel's excuse?
If I could run some defense for my boy here, I think he's just willing to give the Architect a chance since he was given a chance at redemption, and he wants to end the cycle of violence that the blights bring since he saw how bad the blight messed up his family. He's not thinking rationally, but I can see his reasoning behind it more than his Amaranthine decision.
And my girl Sigrun stays on top with not only opposition, but a point I didn't even mention. Awakening the Darkspawn not only makes them more intelligent, but it does make them stronger physically and magically too. Giving more Darkspawn the Zenkai boost can easily turn south if they decide to go back to raiding, like the red team has been doing.
So the vibes I'm picking up here is that these choices are all somewhat in character for each of your squad mates, right, boys?
Right on the money, Poe, and it's far and beyond better than the last choices our squad mates made.
You know, even though we are shitting on this guy, the fact that we have spent a large portion of the episode talking about him just goes to show that BioWare made a well-written villain that has us considering the lore and all sides of the argument.
I cannot blame you.
Oh, absolutely, Maury. He's definitely a top-tier villain. Even though his actions come across as a mad scientist, I can't say he doesn't get results and that he isn't slightly charismatic, considering how successful he is at getting people on his side.
You will have to forgive me, Commander, for fighting to preserve my destiny.
Well, now that we have let the villain yap, it's time to bring down the murder knife.
Well, thank God we don't have to play Fire Maze Simulator with the Architect. He actually fights fair, unlike Corypheus.
Oh, don't you find Corey interactive, Barry?
Holy shit, this vampire can summon fire. That is not how this show is supposed to go. You're supposed to run off stage, not light the damn stage on fire. Don't be a poor sport because you got caught.
Well, this guy is an ancient Tevinter Magister, Maury. He has special blight magic that we don't see anywhere else in the series, as he's able to advance the taint in anyone afflicted by it, and also exert control over those with the taint. He also has spells in-game that no one else has in Origins, like Cataclysm, which is a stronger Firestorm and an improved Fireball, and Winter's Grasp spell as well. He also has spells that we are able to use but no other enemy uses, like Glyph of Neutralization and Hand of Winter.
See, I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds intense. Despite the 2 versus 4, this guy seems pretty even with your squad.
Guys, I somehow got the Architect to do a little dance.
Did this asshole just emote on us? What the hell happened?
See, now this is more on brand for my show.
So that's a specific glitch that happens when you use Unending Flurry on the Architect. Using it on him causes him to stay locked in the Unending Flurry animation as well. Despite not actually being able to use that ability, it's likely due to a coding error.
Well, it's hilarious and horrifying at the same time, but looks like we killed our first of many ancient Tevinter Magisters. Good shit, Joe. He died like a bitch.
Well, actually, Donald, I hate to be that guy, but the Architect is almost certainly not permanently dead. Remember how I mentioned no ending turns out good for Serani?
Oh shit, he has the Cory hacks.
Yeah, the fact that we never see Serani again when we kill the Architect, I am almost certain the Architect transferred himself to Serani's body after we killed him, which means BioWare could bring this guy back at any time if they wanted to. In fact, originally in Inquisition, we were going to meet the Architect during the Grey Warden main quest, in hushed whispers confirming that he is still alive regardless of your choice.
Hopefully the writers just keep forgetting about him. I'm going to be pissed if another Tevinter Magister is revealed to be not dead.
So to add on to the vampire allegations, this dude is immortal too.
Basically, Poe, we just edged him to death. We didn't get to finish
Phrasing,
him off.
please.
Well, the main villain is still defeated. Shouldn't this result in the credits rolling, boys?
Well, we killed the more interesting villain, but we still have another major problem in another talking monster called the Mother, who is a giant tentacle monster known as a broodmother.
Oh shit, Tentacles, Georgie warned me about you boys, and Tentacles, I'm a head out. I don't want a part of that. Povich out.
Well, I guess that was to be expected.
Yeah, we sadly won't ever beat the tentacle allegations, even though I'm damn sure after this next fight we won't ever see a broodmother or tentacle again.
God damn it, Donald, you jinxed it. Now it's definitely going to show up in Veilguard somehow.
That is how that works, Donald, but staying back on topic of the game, let's dive into our comment question for today, boys.
Right, this is definitely an obvious one, but viewers, we gave our opinions on siding with the Architect. Now let's hear yours. Do you side with the Architect or kill him? Tell us which in the comments, and if you did spare him, we would love to hear why our editor will read and respond to everyone. His favorite will be featured during the Witch Hunt special episode, but with the comment question asked. Donald, mind featuring our favorite comment from last episode?
Our featured comment comes from Bushido Warrior, who gave a very Trump-approved answer saying his favorite companion is Nathaniel because of the character arc and interactions being peak, particularly with a human noble warden as you slowly build a friendship with him and show him that Rendon Howe was nothing but a lying snake. He also loves his banter, particularly with Valana, where he does some flirtatious teasing showing off his edgy riz. Thank you for your comment, and we can't wait to hear your opinion on the Architect decision in Awakening.
We also want to give a special shout out to a few super thanks we got last episode. Thank you, Uber Super Sloth, who is only excited about Veilguard to watch us play it. A pretty base take, being honest. And we have another super thanks from BCR Bob, who gave a based Warhammer comparison with the Blood Angels and the Grey Wardens, which inspired our Warhammer talk from earlier behind the scenes, being honest. Thank you so much. We, again, would never expect financial support like this, but the fact you guys give it anyway means the world to us and helps us get this content out to you faster and faster.
Well, back to the game, it's kind of crazy. We are in the last few moments of Awakening, and I think we finally found our peak squad makeup. POTUS and Sigrun have a perfect combination of tank and damage, and they both have abilities that give passive increased attack speed, furthering their DPs. Then Valana and Nathaniel give us further passive buffs, as well as providing even more damage.
This party build is commonly called a blitzkrieg strategy. It mainly focuses on full damage, with just enough passive defense and support to keep your party running. This does bring up my final gripe with Awakening. And that's the fact that as soon as you finish the 3 companion recruitment quests, you are already at the final battle. I mean, even Origins has a buffer quest between the main story and the final battle with the Landsmeet. I'm not asking for a quest as long as the Landsmeet, but offering something before the final battle would have done wonders to finalize your party. Build up before the final battle.
I may not like justice, but even I think the game deserved that much. Considering the fact if we recruited Valana or Sigrun last, we wouldn't even be able to make them Grey Wardens because Zaid gets stuck talking about the final battle. Anyways, with everything else in our way, it's time to curb stomp one last brood mother. Thank God they didn't have some lame way to kill this one. We have to do it by hand.
Major final boss energy in this room right now, but not going to lie as much of a menace as the mother has been for us. I feel kind of bad for her. She wasn't born evil or had dreams of conquering the world. She was a human girl that got captured, essayed by Darkspawn, and became a broken monster. And then some mad Tevinter Magister decided to give you enough intelligence to realize how much of an abomination you are and cut off the one thing that gave you any peace.
Yeah, it's really sad, but we still have to spin back for her trying to attack our gorgeous granite walls.
Oh no, don't worry, I still plan on taking her out. She is a problem to the entire country, but I don't have to like it.
Will she join the father in oblivion?
We could have been chill with her, but she's not interested in peace. She wants death, especially now that her main enemy, the Architect, is dead. The dialogue changes here if you do bring the Architect with you, since her fears of the Wardens helping the Architect are realized. To add more fuel to the Architect allegations, the Architect doesn't fight with us personally. He uses a magical visage to aid us. This is because he knows the Mother will reveal that he is responsible for the 5th blight, and when the party finds this out, any sympathy for the Architect goes out the window, so he prevents us from changing our decision by not showing up after we agree to aid him.
Trust me, girl, I know you want the song to come back, but ever since the old god band lost Thami, they have really fallen off. Razikale and Lusakan are barely keeping the band afloat. Trust me.
Joe, I'm really concerned that you know the actual names of the last 2 old gods. We killed Thami to make you better.
You can't fix what's not broken, Barry, but back to the Architect. It's crazy that even after finding out he is responsible for the 5th blight, there are still people who want to side with this guy. BioWare really made a perfect, morally gray villain here.
Jump scare incoming.
Let it come. Let it come.
Anyway, with our pants fully stained from the jump scare, it's time for the final fight. Boys want to do one final boss yet, Barry.
With pleasure, Joe. So the Mother has relatively low health compared to the Archdemon or the Queen of the Black Marsh, but she makes up for this by having an unlimited supply of hentai tentacles and a constant wave of children grubs, too. I see you focusing on the tentacles, Joe, but it's usually better to only damage the tentacles with area of effect spells that hit the Mother, too, since the tentacles are immortal, and only are stunned temporarily when their health drops low enough. Activating the 3 towers makes this fight pretty free and extra free if you have the Architect's help and get a 4th tower. Use the fire tower and the Architect's spell whenever you want. They just do flat damage to the Mother and tentacles. Use the heal tower whenever a party member is about to die from the Mother's grab, and use the stun tower whenever the grubs are first summoned so they don't overwhelm you. If you don't take out the grubs quickly when they are spawned, it's easy to get overwhelmed.
The Mother's grab also has an annoying glitch that when she uses it, it has a chance to cause the squad mate she picked up to fall inside her and be unable to be attacked. This can cause a damn soft lock if you don't have an ability that can damage enemies without needing a lock on like Reaving Storm.
Thankfully, I don't need to worry about that. POTUS is built far too different to be taken out by a grab, and Nathaniel and Valana are too far away to be affected by anything the Mother does. Honestly, giving everyone in your party ranged attacks is an easy way to cheese this fight. The only thing the Mother can do against ranged is her tentacles and summoning her children. I also noticed she's another boss that summons enemies in waves instead of all at once. I noticed with every DLC, BioWare got more and more addicted to the wave combat system that they would use in Dragon Age 2. We should keep an eye out for it during the special episodes.
Honestly, it's the upgrade for the worst. I prefer Origins, where the enemy's full strength was presented all at once. It offered more strategy.
That's a personal preference, Donald. Some people like wave combat.
Looks like wave combat or no, Joe, you took care of it good shit, finishing up strong, big dog. The last yap I can give about the Mother is her name is a reference to BioWare's cult classic game Jade Empire, where there's a cannibalistic boss monster of the same name.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm sure all of the 5 people who played that game really had a nice chuckle at that reference.
Needlessly hostile, Joe, but good job finishing off your episode and your origins run as a whole with a strong 28 bosses killed.
Time for the ultimate murder knife sequence.
Honestly, while using the murder knife is always satisfying, and definitely an appropriate end to the final boss, but I have to say the Mage Warden finisher is way more satisfying. It's a damn beam clash against the Mother instead. But let me be the first president to say I finished all of Origins completely deathless. Let's see if Barry can do the same.
Lick my nuts, Sleepy. Just wait till we see the death challenge in Veilguard. Anyways, just like the base game viewers, each of us is going to read the epilogue that we are personally responsible for. So start us off, Joe.
With pleasure, Donald. After the deaths of both the Architect and the Mother, nearly all remaining Darkspawn fled back into the deep roads. The raids on Amaranthine came to an abrupt end. Although some of the Architect's disciples likely escaped into the deep roads with the rest of their brethren, they have so far shown no inclination towards vengeance against the Grey Wardens who killed their savior. Yet the deep roads remain plagued by the Darkspawn, and it seems certain that in time another blight will begin. The danger may have passed for now, but the cycle of the old gods continues.
Word of the Grey Warden's heroic salvation of Amaranthine spread like wildfire. When the magnitude of the losses at Vigil's Keep came to light, sympathy drove generous donations from all over Ferelden into the region's coffers. Amaranthine was restored to her former glory within a year. Vigil's Keep in 5. Because of the Warden's support for law and order in Amaranthine, Constable Aiden and his men were able to distribute the smugglers' goods to the battered survivors in the grueling days that followed the Darkspawn defeat.
The Darkspawn messenger, set free after joining the Wardens in the Battle of Amaranthine, struck out on his own. The city soon buzzed with stories of a cloaked but lisping figure who aided travelers in danger. At the same time, reports of isolated cases of the Darkspawn disease emerged. No one connected the two.
The Arling's peasants suffered greatly during the war and suffered yet worse in the years that followed. Success at the first riot at Vigil's Keep emboldened them, and thus other uprisings followed, often put down with brutality.
Although the war devastated many farms in the Arling, all agreed the loss would have been greater without soldiers for protection. The farmholders developed a certain reverence for the Warden commander, as well as an ongoing reliance on the Grey Wardens for order and protection.
Vigil's Keep stood alone against a horde of Darkspawn. The Mother's forces outnumbered the Vigil's defenders many times over.
But the sturdy dwarven walls proved impervious to any boulders an ogre could throw.
Oh God, yes, Daddy.
The Vigils, soldiers clad in silverite, each felled a dozen Darkspawn before they died. The Keep held one night, then two, then a week, and eventually the attacking horde broke upon her walls. The Keep developed an almost mythical reputation the few survivors immortalized in song and legend. Peace allowed the Wardens to replenish their numbers. Soon the Vigil's Keep bore a capable army with Wardens at its core. From their ranks emerged new heroes to challenge threats to Amaranthine and all of Ferelden. Through taxes and levies, the Vigil was rebuilt. Years later, Voldric Glavinac stood on the battlements and pronounced that the defenses were acceptable. He would never speak more highly of any human engineering.
Dark whispers of conspiracy against the Wardens fell silent after a rash of accidents and disappearances culminated in the apparent suicide of Ban Esmerel. The nobles of Amaranthine remained dutiful. Some even suggested they were cowed into submission.
Among many legends that the Vigil spawned was one of the great heroes of the next age, a sheepherder turned soldier by the name of Sir Alec the Valiant, who eventually founded an order of knights that lasted 1,000 years.
The commander's blade Vigilance, crafted from the bones of an ancient dragon, was boldly stolen by Antivan Crows. The blade changed hands many times thereafter, with some master swordsmen pursuing the weapon their entire lives. Some claim that this legendary blade has had a life of its own and that its power is steadily growing.
Dworkin Glavinac refined his lyrium sand explosives but left the Warden's employ after Kunari mercenaries tried to assassinate him, although the dwarven bombardier took his secrets with him. The learned say he left clues for others to follow in his footsteps.
The Vigil soldiers wearing the distinctive silverite armor that Master Wade crafted came to be known as the Silver Order. Under the tutelage of the Wardens, the Silver Order developed into one of Ferelden's most revered military forces, a lasting memory of the Vigil's famous commander. With Valana and the Architect gone from the region, the Pilgrim's Path began to see traffic again. The massacre of the militiamen and the merchants, however, led to hostilities between the neighboring human settlements and any Dalish clans that passed by. One human villager soon kidnapped and murdered a Dalish child. The clans reacted by giving the Wending Wood a wide berth, but both sides know that at some point the elves will return for revenge.
A few years after Kal Hirol was emptied of Darkspawn, Orzammar began sending expeditions to rediscover the knowledge of smithing that had been lost within the Theg. Eventually, House Helmi decided that Kal Hirol was too important to be abandoned. At a tremendous cost of dwarven lives, they cleared the tunnels leading to Kal Hirol of all Darkspawn, making the road between Orzammar and the fortress safe again. Kal Hirol was reclaimed for Orzammar once and for all. And, as promised, Vuldrik and Dworkin presented Orzammar's shapewrit with the stone marker that told of how Kal Hirol's Castles had taken up arms against the Darkspawn. The commander of the Grey was invited to Orzammar as a guest of honor at a feast commemorating the defenders of Kal Hirol. The Shaper read the names of the Castles off the marker, then presided over a ceremony to return them to the stone, as befitted warriors of their stature.
In time, the Arling began to forget the tales of apparitions in the Black Marsh, and ever so slowly settlers drifted into the region. Scholars said the veil was still thin, and thus the area still dangerous, but the people only cared that there were no longer frightened whispers in the shadows. The village was slowly rebuilt. Twice the Baroness's mansion was rebuilt and occupied, once by a wealthy merchant and another time by an Orlesian mage. Both died mysteriously. Afterwards, the mansion was torn down completely and the site left untouched.
The survivors of the siege at Vigil's Keep hailed Anders and his magic for holding back hundreds of the assaulting Darkspawn. In the ensuing victory celebration, the men dragged the mage to the fire to engage him in a drinking contest. Anders lost. Anders remained with the Grey Wardens a few years longer, training the Order's next generation of mages. But when the Circle Tower called on him to deliver a lecture on the nature of the Architect, much to the Templars' dismay, Anders told the commander of the Grey that his time with the Wardens was over. And yet, not 2 months later, Anders returned to the Order. Ever after, the Wardens were his home and his lasting companions.
Valana never saw her clan again, but neither did she forsake her Dalish culture, nor her sharp tongue, nor her quick temper. Valana's interactions with other Grey Wardens changed her opinions of humankind significantly. Shortly after the Mother's defeat, Darkspawn stragglers, who still remained on the surface, attacked a human village. Valana was the only warden nearby and defended the village single-handedly. She did not sneer once. Valana scoured the Mother's lair for signs of her sister, but it was as though Serani had vanished into thin air. Valana blamed the warden commander for choosing to kill the Architect, certain that the Architect would have released her sister if he lived. This remained a source of friction for as long as POTUS and Valana knew each other.
Over the next years, Nathaniel dedicated himself to the Order and to clearing the blemishes on his family's name. After saving Tairn Fergus Causland from a bandit attack, a portion of Amaranthine was returned to the house. Nathaniel passed the holding to Delilah's son, and when a new castle was eventually built there, a statue of Nathaniel is erected in its courtyard.
Justice fought valiantly at the battle for Vigil's Keep, but before the victory horn sounded, a Darkspawn sword removed Kristoff's head. It was, of course, unclear whether the spirit of justice perished or simply departed. At the least, Kristoff's wife, Aura, was finally able to claim her husband's ashes.
Although Sigrun seemed intent on leaving for her calling, departing for the deep roads to finish what she started in Kal Hirol, the warden commander had a knack for finding important and absolutely urgent things to occupy the dwarf. And so Sigrun delayed her long walk into the darkness for several decades, even though she never stopped cracking jokes about needing to throw herself at death.
At Vigil's Keep, Oghren rallied a last-minute defense of the gate, taking on 2 ogres simultaneously to allow others time to regain the courtyard. He eventually passed out from blood loss, and when he awoke weeks later, Nobody was more surprised than he to discover he had been credited as a hero. Ogren continued to regale young warden recruits with tales of his prowess in both battle and bed. His drinking games prompted at least one recruit to declare that she'd rather reattempt the joining than lift another mug. At the warden commander's urging, Ogren took a more active role in his child's life. He visited Felsey often and wrote letters, which the warden commander graciously proofread nearly every week.
As for the savior of Ferelden, he did not remain as commander of the Grey for long. The Darkspawn were no longer a real concern. The blight, well and truly over. It was time for him to move on.
Even though he left his post as commander, everyone knew his tale was far from complete.
Some claim the commander headed west into Orlais, chasing after the dark-haired sorceress who had fought alongside him during the Blight. Whether he found her or not, he certainly did not return to Vigil's keep.
Well, that calls it for my time in Dragon Age Origins. Next time you see Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. cook, it will be in Vilgard. Look forward to it, viewers.
We hope you all enjoyed Dragon Age's only full expansion to date, Dragon Age Awakening. Honestly, despite a few gripes, Awakening is a close second only to the peak that is Dragon Age Origins to me personally. With the book closed on Awakening, we only have me and Donald's special episodes, where we will do Golems and Witch Hunt, respectively.
The book isn't closed on Dragon Age Origins until POTUS walks through the Morrigan Mirror with his goth waifu boys, so stay tuned.
Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment on what decision you make with the Architect. And don't forget to join the Discord in the description for more updates and to join a chill Dragon Age community. We also still have our community poll deciding our race class and origin in Veilguard. So don't forget to subscribe to take part in Who We Play. This episode was a little short, so to compensate, I'm about to serenade you for a few minutes with some dark fantasy tunes. So for now, stay safe, and a 1 and 2 and 2, 2, 3, 4.
Everyone me, no and I wear 3 right. I know upon your knee now by now. Dolly dwell over me. Amen. Oh, no, nay. Ime nightmare, Mary will on me, all I know. I
All I know